Have you ever stopped to wonder how these AI models we chat with, every day, actually manage to read the internet?
Yeah.
All that vast information. It's uh, maybe not as neat as you might think.
Right. It's a complex process.
And today we're doing a deep dive into something called LLMS.txt. It's a text file, relatively new, popped up around late 2024, and, well, it made some waves.
It really did. It was designed specifically with large language models in mind. Think ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, that sort of thing.
Okay.
The goal was to give websites a much cleaner, sort of simpler way to feed their main content to AI.
Simpler how? Like getting rid of the clutter.
Stripping away all the extra noise, the ads, the navigation menu, sidebars, all that bloated HTML code, letting the AI get straight to the important stuff.
So it's less about the AI trying to scrape and figure out a whole messy web page, and more like a cheat sheet, a stripped-down version, maybe Markdown-formatted, just the essential content.
That's a great way to put it, a cheat sheet for AI.
And you find it right in the root directory, like yourdomain.com, LLMS.txt, same place as robots.txt.
Just like robots.txt. Easy for crawlers to find, theoretically.
Interesting. Okay, so our mission today then is to unpack this. What is LLMS.txt really? Why did it get all that buzz initially? Where is it actually being used now? And this sounds intriguing, Google's somewhat icy reaction to it.
Yeah, icy or maybe cool is a good description. It's definitely been an interesting development to follow since late 2024.
So let's start there. Define it for us. How does LLMS.txt actually simplify things for these big AI models?
Well, at its core, it's surprisingly simple. It's just a plain text file. Instead of an AI needing to, scrape and interpret all the complex HTML of a page.
Which takes time and processing power.
Right. LLMS.txt offers this clean markdown structure. It highlights the really critical info, project name, a short description, maybe key sections, links to important docs. It's super lightweight, and crucially, it's human readable, too. That's part of its elegance. And there's even an extended version people proposed, LLMs-full.txt. The idea there was to potentially contain all your documentation in one single file for the AI.
That does sound efficient. Get right to the point. But, okay, the hype. Why did this simple text file concept take off so fast? What was driving that initial excitement?
I think it tapped into a shared goal. Everyone wants AI to process information more efficiently. These LLMs, they have limits, right? Context windows. They can't just read a massive, complex website all at once effectively.
Makes sense.
So LLMS.txt seemed like this smart, direct route. Feed the AI only the really relevant stuff. Jeremy Howard from Answer.ai, he proposed the format back in September 2024. Then Mintlify jumped on it in November, rolling out support across thousands of developer documentation sites.
So that practical implementation gave it legs.
Big time. And immediately people started asking, okay, is this the new robots.txt? Is this the next big standard?
Right, the natural comparison. So fast forward to now, after that initial buzz, where are we actually seeing LLMS.txt being used? Is it widespread?
Widespread might be too strong. Its adoption is really concentrated, mostly in the developer and AI tooling space. Places where structured documentation is just, critical.
Okay, why there specifically?
Think about developer docs versus, say, a blog post. Dev docs are already pretty structured, API endpoints here, parameters there, code examples. LLMS.txt's Markdown format just mirrors that structure perfectly, so an AI can potentially grab just the parameter description it needs much more efficiently.
I see. Any examples?
Yeah. LangGraph added a public LLMS.txt file to their docs. And maybe more significantly for wider reach, Yoast, the big SEO plugin for WordPress, they quietly added a feature in June 2025. It auto-generates an LLMS.txt file for your site.
Yoast did. Wow. That makes it accessible to, almost anyone on WordPress, even non-devs.
Exactly. A low barrier to entry.
Okay, so if it's potentially useful, and tools like Yoast are supporting it, what's Google's view? You mentioned their reaction was a bit cool.
It was, yeah. Pretty definitive, actually. In June 2025, John Mueller, who's a search advocate at Google, he commented on it. He basically said LLMS.txt reminded him of the old meta keywords tag.
Oh, the meta keywords tag. That's not a flattering comparison in SEO terms.
Not at all. His direct quote was something like, "No AI system currently uses LLMS.txt," which is pretty blunt.
Why such a strong stance? Is it just that it's not being used, or is there more to it?
Well, Google learned lessons from how the meta keywords tag was abused, right? People just stuffed it with irrelevant terms, hoping to rank higher.
Right, keyword stuffing.
Exactly. So their concern with LLMS.txt is likely similar. They probably worry it could just become a way to feed AI spam or try and manipulate the AI's understanding rather than genuinely helping it access good content.
And is there any proof crawlers are ignoring it?
Yeah, server log analysis back this up. People have checked. None of the major AI crawlers, not Googlebot, not Gemini's crawler, seem to be looking for LLMs.txt files.
No.
So right now, zero evidence it impacts AI indexing or search rankings. Zero.
Okay, that really puts a damper on the initial excitement then. So let's bring it back to the listener. If you're running a website, what's the takeaway? Should you bother implementing this or just wait and see?
Well, look, it's clearly not a magic bullet. Anyone expecting instant results is going to be disappointed.
Yep.
But I wouldn't say it's useless either.
Okay.
You have to remember, it's a proposed standard. It's not official. The big players, Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, they haven't formally adopted it.
So who should consider it then?
If your site is heavy on developer documentation, if you have an API-focused product, or maybe you're building tools where AI integration is really key, then yeah, adding an LLMs.txt file is pretty low effort. Especially now with tools like that Yoast feature making it easy, it might help future AI tools that perhaps do decide to use it.
Low risk, potential future benefit in specific niches.
Precisely. But, and this is the big but, if you're running a standard blog or an e-commerce store and you're thinking adding this file will suddenly boost your traffic or AI visibility today, well, that ain't it.
Right. Remember John Mueller's warning from June 2025? Like the old keywords meta tag, don't expect immediate SEO gains.
Exactly that. So for now, LLMS.txt is kind of simmering quietly on the back burner. It hasn't disappeared, but the initial hype has definitely cooled.
Okay, so a final thought then. It's simmering now,
Yeah.
but what if?
What if? Yeah, what if down the road, maybe next year, maybe later, one of the big AI companies does decide to officially support it? Maybe they see value in that structured format for certain types of content and integrate it into their crawlers.
Could the sites that added it early, even if it does nothing now, suddenly get an advantage, an early adopter edge?
It's possible. Think about robots.txt. It started as just a proposal, a suggestion, and eventually evolved into a fundamental web standard that everyone uses.
Yeah.
Could LLMS.txt follow a similar, albeit perhaps slower, path?
It definitely raises questions about, how we future-proof our content, not just for humans, but for the AIs that are increasingly reading it. Something to think about.
Definitely something to keep an eye on.